Now let's get into this theory for the Judgment Day, because this has been something that's been lightly talked about ever since Roxanne Perez joined the story. It's no secret why Finn Balor brought Roxanne Perez into the group. It wasn't to help the Judgment Day, it wasn't even to help Roxanne. The main purpose of Finn bringing her in was to cause division all throughout the Judgment Day. He wanted Liv to feel threatened by Roxanne's presence, and that Roxanne was replacing Liv in every way within the group. He also brought Roxanne in the group to get closer to Dominic, just so that Dominic can fall for Roxanne and throw Liv Morgan away as well. A perfect plan for Finn is to ruin the Judgment Day's unity, and ruin Dominic and Liv's happiness at the same time. That's the direction the story has been going in, but there's one big problem with that route. And that's the fact that it's not only predictable, but we saw that exact story happen for Dominic in 2024. So for the same exact story to play out again, just barely a year later, well, that feels like lazy writing. Having Dominic leave Liv for Roxanne is too predictable, too expected, and that's what's making fans continue to feel like that can't be the only play here. Fans feel like the big twist here in this story is that Dominic has grown. He's not going to make the same mistakes he did in 2024. This time around, he's going to stay loyal to Liv Morgan and turn Roxanne down to ruin Finn's plan. We've been doing a lot of talking about how Finn's plan has been going smooth so far. Well, the biggest disruption to it will be Dominic not falling for Roxanne's trap and sticking with Liv Morgan. It feels like a babyface run is cooking up for both Dominic and Liv Morgan. So fans feel like Dominic and Liv could come up with their own plan to destroy everything Finn is trying to do and then leave the Judgment Day themselves. Continuing Dom and Liv's relationship outside of the Judgment Day, now as a babyface couple. Dominic has been getting cheered for even more since WrestleMania, and it looks like the best way to keep him going in that babyface direction is to give him the loyalty trait of staying true to Liv Morgan and turning down Roxanne's advances. So a lot of fans are discussing that to be the big twist here. Everyone's expecting Liv and Dominic to break up, but maybe they actually stick together and overcome this evil plan from Finn Balor.
Well, I did a poll earlier this morning where it says, will Dom move on from Liv if he get with Roxanne? And 36% say if he can't get with Rox, betray Finn, yes. And even Supreme, shout out to Supreme, he said this. It always has to be that one person who doesn't want to believe the truth that Liv and Dom are over, and it's time for something new and fresh like Rox and Dom. Well, I think he meant Dom and Rox, but 100%. People voted yes, and because they agree, right? We got to start something fresh and new. So here's another poll. I asked people now that Liv is gone, what's next for Dom? 62% say Finn versus Dom, 31% say Dom and Rox, and 8% say Dom, Rox, Raquel, and Carlito if Carlito comes back and get rehired. So that's what we're most likely going to see anyway, so we can get on that. But I also asked this around April or May, where I asked if Roxanne get with Dom, will Dom still become babyface? 48% say yes, 35% say no, and 17% say depend on how Liv treats him. And I even asked this, y'all think Dom can help Roxanne turn face? 71% say yes, 19% say no, 10% said if he can help her betray Finn. So, yeah, I listen, I get it. I get what he's trying to say. He is right. Dom is grown, and obviously Dom do not want to go through the same thing that he went through last year. I get it. But, however, he doesn't have the final say to say up front that he wants to stay with Liv Morgan or not. He has to listen to the boss. That ain't up to him. That's up to the boss. And if Triple H wants him to get with Roxanne, then most likely he's going to get with Roxanne unless he doesn't want to get no check. Now, if you don't want to get no check, then you just be written off TV. But does Dom have the option to say no? I'm sure he do. But then again, if your wife asks you, hey, can you stop doing these relationships or storylines, like can you had enough of this, can you are you gonna stop anytime soon, and he say I don't know, then obviously that will put his marriage in jeopardy, and most likely he would It's up to him. It's either the check or his wife. You know what I'm saying? And I think his wife won't have a problem with him being with Roxanne because at least Roxanne has a man versus with Liv Morgan, she don't. So, it's a risk if you stay with Liv Morgan, but it's not a risk if you stay with Roxanne, right? So, again, I get that some people want, Dom to stay faithful to Liv, but that's not going to make him his babyface, okay? The crowd, if you guys think about it, right? When Dom came out there with Liv Morgan on Monday before she got injured, people were still booing him. So will people boo him if he gets with Roxanne? I don't think so. Because people will want to see the change anyway. So it's really up to Dom if he really wants to adapt to that change. If he don't, then I don't know if the storyline is going to continue to work with him and Liv, because people are not interested. You don't see nobody wearing their shirts anymore. You don't see people talking about them anymore. Some people are, but not all. And, again, it's just clear as day that nobody cares about the storyline. They want this to end. They want the Judgment Day to end. They want Finn Balor to go his way. They want Dom to go his way. They want Liv to go her way. So what are we talking about? Nobody cares about JD and Raquel, unfortunately. But, if this is going to help Roxanne become women's world champion or intercontinental champion, what's the problem? The tag team belts are going to lose. They're going to get off of them anyway if she team up with Raquel. And if they face the Bella twins, right? They can retire with the belts. So if the people want Dom to be with Roxanne, then that's what the people want. Now, I know some people don't understand it. I know some people say it doesn't make any sense. They feel like she's not the right fit for Dom. But I'm like, in my opinion, I think it will work out because of the terms and conditions, right? Dom's married. She's in a committed relationship with Drake. And, they're both Mexican. So why can we form a Mexican fraction between Dom, Roxanne, Raquel, and they rehire Carlito, and we have a fraction right there? I understand you don't understand the connect, but it will be something new and something good for the crowd to see. So maybe Triple H might do that, but you never know. But I do know this. For everybody saying that Dom is not going to fall into the same tactic, that could be possible. But that's why I have an option for people to say, if Dom could get Roxanne to betray Finn Balor, then at that point, Roxanne is babyface. And Dom will be babyface too, because he's thinking outside of the box. He's thinking smart. So if he does that, I think that will make the story interesting, because Dom is trying to talk to Roxanne because, for one, you did say he's grown, right? So as a grown man, why don't you talk to this young woman and, put her on game? Because Dom, think about it. Dom been in the game since 2020. He could put her on game. You know what I'm saying? If those two work together, then most likely that those two are going to continue to work together, because they might do a little something, right? Can you imagine if Dominic Mysterio become world heavyweight champion because of Roxanne, and Roxanne become women's world champion because of Dom? I think that would be a great story to tell. And at that point, who can hate on them? At that point, people are going to be screaming Dom and Roxanne all through the building. And they might come out with merch. And if people support it, and the votes say that people are going to support it, then what's the problem? So the people won't change, all right? And if they won't change, why not execute it? You know what I'm saying? Nobody wants to see Dom or Liv Morgan no more. Maybe the bots, but they're nowhere to be found. So it's kind of weird that people are still talking about it. But again, it's obvious that these people do not want to move on. But only one or two or three people are talking about it, while hundreds of people are not talking about it. Because we all know the story. All right. So I do agree that the story is too predictable. But that's why I say if Dom can talk to Roxanne to betray Finn, then at that point, Finn pretty much all he has is JD. So at that point, the Judgment Day is over. Unless Carlito comes back. But if he come back, he going to ride with Dom. You know, so it's just a lot to take up on. But that's why I'm going to have you guys do all the talking. Comment down below. Let me know. What do you guys think, man? Do you guys think that Dom still might work with Roxanne, even though some bloggers think that Dom is not going to fall into it? Do you think that Dom is going to help Roxanne portray Finn Balor once the plan is executed? Like I said, once Finn portrays Dom, at that point, Dom has to figure out what he going to do next. And I think the best plan is to get Roxanne to betray Finn, you know? And then at that point, maybe those two will work together. But that's why I need you guys to comment down below, because I'm out of breath, man. I'm tired of these bloggers poisoning my subscribers with this nonsense. And it's just like, bro, nobody don't care. If we're not going to persevere and we're not going to move on into the next storyline, then at this point, bro, it's just overwhelming at this point. Okay? Nobody don't care about Liv and Dom. Boo or cheer, nobody cares. Okay? Nobody's going to cheer for them and nobody's going to boo them. They're going to boo them more than they're going to cheer for them because nobody wants to see those two together. The bots online might want to see it, but they're nowhere to be found. I mean, they didn't even do many views on the interview they did with Billboard, including when they went shopping for sneakers on Complex. So it's just tiring, bro. It's exhausting. So, again, like I said, nobody don't care. If you're not going to get Dom to persevere, then nobody gives a fuck. So y'all comment down below. Give me your thoughts. What do you guys think, man? Do you guys think that Dom and Roxanne still going to hook up? Or do you think that Dom is going to stay loyal to Liv Morgan, even though it's pointless, when we all know that she's still going to be for Roxanne and Dom is still going to be with Finn? So honestly, this story is never going to end until Dominic Mysterio betrays Liv Morgan or Liv Morgan betrays Dom. So y'all comment down below. Let me know. All right. Get in the comment box. Make sure you guys like, comment, subscribe, share if you're new. And I'll catch y'all in the next video. All right. I'm out.
Roxanne and Dommy.